Am I the asshole for eating what I couldn't afford? I'm a 25 female. Recently I had a party with my group of friends: Allison, 27F, Jamie, 25M, Caitlin, 26F, and Xander, 27M. We have a party like this once a year and it's always been a lot of fun. This year though I have been tight on money and couldn't eat as much as I usually did. This year's party was the same as every year. We meet up at a bar, order drinks, get drunk, go home, and order food for all of us to share. As I stated, this year I was tight on money and could barely pay for any of the food or drinks we purchased. I volunteered to clean up instead of paying with everyone else and they agreed. All except Jamie. He said, just because I'm tight on money doesn't mean I can't pitch in on any of the food or drinks. But, he should understand my situation since he grew up without money. At the bar, I was sitting with the girls and we were enjoying our drinks when Jamie came over and said, "We shouldn't even be letting you come with us considering you can't pay for yourself." Allison replied with, "It's all right for her to come since we have enough money to cover the cost for her." Jamie scoffed and sat with Xander at a separate table. After we left the bar we went to Caitlin's apartment. The food was ordered and a 5-minute wait was all we needed until it got there. While we waited, Jamie said, "Make sure not to eat too much op. Don't eat what you can't pay for." Everyone started laughing including me because we thought he was joking but unfortunately he wasn't. When the food got there, everyone began eating except Jamie and myself. I was in the bathroom when it got there and Jamie was setting up water bottles and bottles in the freezer. After I returned from the bathroom I myself began to eat as well. Keep in mind we ordered 3 pizzas, 24 slices, 2 plates of wings, in a box, totaling 20 wings, brownies, and of course soda. The water was already there. Around an hour or so into the party, I suppose it doesn't exactly sound like a party so more of a get-together, I took a slice of pizza and Jamie slapped it out of my hand. He said, "I told you not to eat what you couldn't pay for." I was sitting there in shock when Allison said, "You didn't have to do that, it was uncalled for." Xander and Caitlin agreed with Allison and Jamie left the party. I left after him and went home. The next morning I received a bunch of texts from Jamie's other friends saying I shouldn't have embarrassed him like that and instead listened to what he said and didn't eat what I couldn't afford. I blocked them all and now I'm receiving messages from Jamie himself talking about how bad of a friend I am for what I did. But I really don't think I did anything wrong. I was just hungry. So am I the asshole for eating what I couldn't afford? Edit. I'd like to add that yes, Jamie and I haven't been friends longer than anyone else. I met Jamie through Allison and Allison met me through Caitlin. So we at the start were friends of friends. Nobody in the group has dated one another and we tried to keep the group stable. Yes, I did clean and yes, this is the first time I couldn't pay. I cut contact with Jamie and for the time being the only person talking to him is Allison. Thank you for the suggestions. Not the asshole. Jamie is the one that embarrassed himself. I hope he's not a close friend because he showed his true colors. If I had a friend tight on money and they couldn't afford to pitch in for food one time, I would cover them in a heartbeat, no questions asked. Plus you only took one fucking slice of pizza. I'm sorry, buy a decent friend would not get so butthurt over one slice of pizza. Jamie is not your friend, and I'd question your relationships with anyone who took his side. Not the asshole if your friend won't even shout you a single slice of pizza from a 3+ pizza order. They're not a friend, they're not even polite. They tried to embarrass you, and instead embarrassed themselves by showing everyone what a tightass they are. Not the asshole Jamie embarrassed himself. Info. Is this the first time you have expected your friends to cover your costs? Did you indeed clean up as agreed with your other friends? Am I the asshole for not wanting to dedicate half my wedding to my fiancé's sister? I, 29F, got engaged to my boyfriend, Peter, 30M, in early 2023 and our wedding is scheduled for early 2024. Peter has a sister, Olivia, who's 15 and was recently diagnosed with leukemia. She's receiving chemotherapy and as far as I know, it's not terminal. One of Olivia's dreams in life is to get married. Ever since I've known her, she's talked about her future wedding and has planned every last detail. Since she got diagnosed, she's become very worried that she won't be able to have her dream wedding because she might pass before that happens. Based on what I know about her diagnosis, she'll likely survive and go on to live a full life, but it's a definite possibility she could die. Peter and I are currently in the wedding planning stage, and this is also where we might be the assholes. Peter's parents approached us a few days ago and asked if we would be willing to dedicate some of our wedding time to Olivia since she might not get one of her own. According to them, Olivia wants to wear a wedding dress, invite a lot of her friends, have a say in the food, cake, decorations, and have a first dance with her boyfriend. They said it's better to do all this at me and Peter's wedding because then the family can celebrate all together. Peter and I were shocked that they would ask this since we thought that our wedding would be about us. I know Olivia is struggling and I feel completely awful for her since no teenager should have their youth ruined by cancer, but I don't see why we can't have a separate party for Olivia instead of having to dedicate half our day to her. Especially since she would likely get most of the attention due to her condition. Additionally, it would cost a lot more money to have to pay for Olivia's friends to attend the wedding. Peter's parents only offered to pay for 75% of the additional cost, and Peter and I aren't made of money. Peter and I told Peter's parents we would think about it, but after discussing it, we decided it would be better to say no because we'd prefer our day to be about us, but we'd be more than willing to pitch in funds and help plan a separate party for Olivia. But when we informed Peter's parents, they were furious. They said they couldn't believe we were prioritizing ourselves over a child with cancer and that we were being selfish. They said this might be Olivia's only chance for a wedding and how dare we deny her dying wish. I said I didn't understand why we couldn't have a separate party, but Peter's parents said they wanted it to feel authentic for Olivia, so it would be better to do it at an actual wedding. When they started raising their voices, Peter and I left. But since then Peter's family has been spamming us with messages about how terrible we're being to Olivia and how they can't believe we're not being considerate of her wishes. Peter and I both frequent this sub, so we wanted to know what the internet thinks. Are we being unreasonable here? Not the asshole. Their plan sounds so gross. She is 15. Return their money and elope. Then they can afford the fake wedding of their daughter's dreams. Not the asshole. Your wedding should be about the two of you. Her parents should have a separate party for the daughter. Maybe a sweet 16 party? Not the asshole. While I am sympathetic, as I am sure you and your partner are as well, your fiancé's family can arrange a special time and place for his sister to have her fairy tale wedding. It's your wedding, a celebration of your love and union. Your future in-laws have no right to attempt co-opt this occasion for another purpose. Peter's parents only offered to pay for 75% of the additional cost. Not the asshole. They are off their rockers. And not even offering to pay for 100% of it exemplifies that. Am I the asshole for talking about being food insecure at work? I am 22, I'm a substitute teacher. In my district we're paid the legal minimum for the job. If you work more than 15 days at a school you get normal pay. I only ever get jobs that are exactly 15 days. A few days into my placement, I heard some teachers, both M30-ish, in the lounge complaining that bus monitors only get paid $20 an hour, and laughing about how only an idiot would do a job for that little. I make $14.50. I jumped in and told them, they didn't know I was being paid that little. My monthly grocery budget is $150. An entire paycheck has to go to rent alone, and then the majority of the rest goes to medical expenses. I am permanently disabled, other bills, and gas. I usually have less than $10 total for a few days before my next paycheck. I don't qualify for SNAP. My disabilities make most food pantry items inaccessible. I have anaphylaxis from nuts, honey, peppers, and more. For the past month, thanks to a prescription going up in price, I have been eating once every 24 hours to keep making rent, but for the last 8 months I've been food insecure. I usually cry on the way home because I pass by fast food and know I can't even get a hamburger. I'm almost always so hungry it hurts. I admit I've got some resentment to my job for paying me so little while the school constantly complains that we don't have enough subs. I've had anger building up over the fact that I'm starving, and they only hire me for the maximum days before they have to pay me more. Where I might be the asshole. I've started being open about the fact that I'm hungry at work. I never ask for food. Just stuff like they'll ask if I can keep a student in the room over lunch, and I'll be chipper, my usual self, and reply, of course, I'll just be reading, I couldn't afford food today. A teacher I don't know will ask what I packed for lunch and I'll say, nothing, I can't afford that much food. Stuff like that. It's always true. I'm careful to not exaggerate. Recently I was in the library and the librarian asked if I had dinner plans. I said no, I have to skip eating today because I can't afford it. She looked at me weird and said while she won't judge me for being unable to eat, it's very unprofessional to talk about it at work where you're being paid. I told her if it's unprofessional for me to talk about starving, it's just as unprofessional to pay me so little I starve. She went quiet and we didn't really talk for the rest of the day. She got me thinking, and I'll admit I don't know if I'm actually being an asshole. I know other staff aren't the ones who pay me so little. But I also feel like my struggle is invisible, and after full-time teachers called anyone taking even $20 an hour an idiot, it's really been eating at me. Too long did not read. I'm being open about the fact that I'm food insecure at work, and don't feel bad for making the people paid more than me feel awkward. I was told it was unprofessional and snapped back. You are the asshole. What does the librarian have to do with your situation? She asked if you'd like to go to dinner and you dump all of that as your answer? Seriously? Someone is trying to hang out with you and that's your response? Channel your anger to the appropriate people, not the coworker wanting to have a good time with you. You are the asshole. What do you expect these people to say in response? It's on you to either get a better paying job or go to a food bank. There are resources you can access. Don't just complain about your situation to people when it's you they needs to do something about it. Not the asshole. And I like you so much. You're absolutely right that it's worse of them to pay you so little you can't afford to eat. If it's uncomfortable to hear about, imagine how uncomfortable it is for you living it. Maybe they should do something about it. Lol. This one is original. Definitely you are the asshole. In the situations you give, nobody has asked about your ability to afford anything. You've just insisted on dumping it on them. It comes off as very passive-aggressive. I am certainly sympathetic to your financial problems, but dropping them on people who have no say in the matter is just wrong. Am I the asshole for not telling my mom the gender of my baby? My boyfriend and I found out we were pregnant and we decided to wait till closer to the end of the first trimester to tell family. Because this will be the first child of this generation on my family's side, we wanted to make sure all the announcements were special. We wanted to tell my parents first since we knew this would be a big deal. We had planned to do something for Mother's Day as it was the following weekend after we received our first ultrasound pictures. Unfortunately, trying to schedule this without tipping off my parents was difficult and it ended up being pushed back a week. During that time my boyfriend slipped to a few of his family members. We did a cute reveal for my parents and they were excited, but I could tell my mom was hurt that some of his family members knew before she did. We are getting close to our anatomy scan and we are super excited to find out the gender of our baby. We want to find out privately and then host a reveal party for family. We had planned on doing this party a month after finding out, not only to put together a registry but also so my brother, who is military, would be able to attend. My mother called me asking when my anatomy scan was. Me not thinking anything of it told her when it was scheduled for. She then started rambling on about plans she had for gender reveals and things she needs to buy and planning that she needs to do. I stopped her and said she wouldn't be finding out the gender of the baby until we did our party a month later. She flipped out saying I was being disrespectful towards her and that keeping something like this from your mother isn't something you do. She even brought up that other people found out I was pregnant before her and she had to wait till I was much further along then finding out immediately. I don't really like confrontation, so I laughed it off while explaining how a gender reveal party works and what we had planned. She then said she was excited to be the holder of the gender and wanted to surprise us and see our reactions, that this screws up everything she wanted to plan. She then demanded if we were going to do things this way, we plan the party for the day after the anatomy scan. I wouldn't mind readjusting the date, but nothing that close would work for us and what we need to have done prior to planning the party. There was also the concern of wanting to wait till my brother could be in town, which not only my mother but my father flipped out on, saying not to rely on him to even show up. I've never seen my brother as unreliable before, and with how excited he was to be an uncle, I don't see how they are so upset over this fact. My mother even went on to say that she's the grandparent, to which I responded that he's the uncle, he's family and he wanted to be there, and she didn't seem to care. I feel like this is putting a lot of stress on me and making a problem that doesn't need to exist. Not the asshole. Your mom has big plans considering she's not the one having the baby. You have your own plans, and those take priority. If you want to be accommodating, of course that's your decision as well. Not the asshole. But sex does not equal gender. It's a sex reveal. A genital reveal. And I am forever mystified as to why it needs its own inaccurately named party now. Not the asshole. Your mom is being selfish. It's great she wants to be included, but she needs to respect your plans and wishes. Not the asshole. You need to remind your mother this is about you and your husband. What she wants has absolutely no bearing on your experience. This is a great time to establish the boundaries you'll need after your child is born. Your boyfriend mostly, though. You had a plan, and he just went off and did what he wanted. Your mom doesn't have a right to be first and needs to get over some silly gender reveal, but I can understand her hurt. And you, all of you, really, sound exhausting.